Xena.
Jara, what are you doing here? Don't tell me you got time off for good behavior. I escaped.
Well, Najara had been a very successful character in the first of her appearances on Xena, and we thought she was such a strong character in that episode, let's bring her back and mix things around a little bit among the three women. And it also gave us yet another way to have Gabrielle explore what is her way in this world. You know, that seemed to be the gist of all of our fourth season episodes with Gabrielle, was her trying to find her own unique path that paralleled Xena's, perhaps, but didn't emulate it.
We wanted to bring Najara back, and we did in The Convert, because of two reasons. We really liked Catherine Morrison, thought, why not bring her back? And, you know, I really liked the episode of The Crusader as we also thought it was a way to explore more of Gabrielle's quest.
My place is with Xena. I know, and it always will be. Until her continuing violence finally makes her do something even you can't excuse.
It's not going to happen.
It has to, and then you will have to choose. Not between me and Xena, but between Xena and your own soul.
Certainly, RJ and I discussed Najara. I think what was even more informative for me in terms of writing the character as she was in my episode was watching the episode over and over in which we had introduced her and seeing where her strengths lay and what we could plausibly do with that character that didn't make Gabrielle seem an idiot for following her, for believing in her, and yet kept Xena at a distance, you know? So I think revisiting the episode, reading it and watching it over and over, that probably informed what I did with the character more than anything else.
I feel so ashamed.
I'm sure that's hard. But Najara, you've turned your life around. Take strength from that.
The Jinn say the same thing.
Listen to them.
They also talk about that hospice we were going to start. Remember?
Yeah, I remember. A place whose only purpose is to ease suffering.
The character of Najara is an interesting character I like quite a bit. And it was interesting to pass a character off to another writer. We had C.Manheim on staff, who's a terrific writer, and I had a lot of confidence that she would explore her appropriately. And I remember reading, the first time I read the script, I actually went through just Najara's part just to see how she sounded. She sounded really good and sounded appropriate. And so I think Chris did it right. It was unlike Callisto, I wrote the Callisto, and then I wrote The Return of Callisto because I wanted to keep my hands on it and stuff. But that was a case where I passed it off to Chris, and I think she did a nice job. Chris is a wonderful writer.
With Catherine Morris already having been established as a character on the show, it was 100 times easier to write her. Given her character's bent in this episode, of course, made a little bit of a difference, but no, a known quantity is always a lot easier than having to write for someone we've yet to see.
We walk the same path, Gabrielle. Our lives are dedicated to defeating evil by promoting peace. It's our way. The way Eli taught us. We reverence for life.
One of the interesting things in The Convert is that it's Jox's first kill, which is a very, very strong story point, a very strong psychological moment for him, which we spent a lot of time pushing into big close-ups, and Ted played that out beautifully, and it's kind of the crux of the whole episode.
First blood for Joxer, first kill for Joxer. And, you know, I think that came out of a place where we're just thinking that, God, this guy, I mean, sure, he's a comedy relief, but he does live in this incredibly violent world. Ted's a pretty good actor, so why don't we challenge the character and the actor to deal with the consequences of living with these violent people. I think it worked fine, and I think that was a nice touch, and I think Ted did it terrific. Ultimately, the character of Joxer is always going to be more satisfying as comedy relief, though, as opposed to a warrior. But I think it was a nice coloring of his character and helped really what we were going to do as the series went on with Joxer.
Joxer ended up having his first kill on the episode because, quite honestly, Ted Raimi had expressed an interest in deepening his character. We certainly used Joxer to fullest extent in terms of the comedy, especially the broader comedy beats. I think as an actor, he felt like he wanted to show another side of Joxer, a deeper level to Joxer, a stretch. And so we thought, well, he's been such a braggart about all his heroic deeds. Why not put him to the test? Because we all agreed Joxer had never killed anyone before this episode, and this was to be his, you know, rock his soul kind of episode to kill someone in.
What's with the long face? You did it. Scored your first kill. Go away. Oh, come on. So what if you made some kid an orphan? I've done it hundreds of times. It's no biggie. You're the murderer. So are you. Keep it up. Soon you'll be as bad as me. Because underneath it all, we're just the same, you and me. Two badass, butt-kicking, slaughter-happy... Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Go away.
Talking to me?
Xena.
There's a shot in that episode that I'd forgotten until I watched the episodes again the other day, and it was one of the few occasions where we sort of used slow motion in Xena apart from in a fight, and it was as Gabrielle and Joxer enter the temple, and it was a Steadicam shot, but there's something real nice just about using the slow motion. It gives it a real nice floaty effect at that point, and sets you up for what's about to happen next. But it just struck me as being unusual because we'd often go into slow motion with action and fights and explosions and things, but this was just purely expositional, getting from A to B, running into a temple, and it's just got that real nice, slow, floaty feel about it.
I have to tell you, that powder weapon was nobody's favorite, let's put it that way. I think I read in a book where some Amazon tribe or something used a bit of powder that befuddled the senses or blinded them temporarily, anybody whose face it was blown into. So we chose that because we were looking for a weapon that didn't make Gabrielle violent, but allowed her to participate in a fight.
The powder puff weapon, which is was used at the end of that episode, was probably Rob's idea. I don't recall precisely, but I mean, Rob just has those kind of great ideas about how to have an alternative weapon and stuff. I mean, this is classic Rob stuff. So
Gabrielle believes Najara has changed because Gabrielle is capable of believing that people change. She's seen it in Xena. She's actually seen herself evolving as well. It's a gift and a curse for Gabrielle because her open heart is such that she allows anybody the chance to change. When they don't, of course, it's pretty devastating, but the good news about Gabrielle is she picks herself up and she meets the world with her heart full still. I mean, that's the beauty of that character.
Najara was only trying to help. Yeah, I heard. Will you try to understand? You went to prison after you were changed. You know what a waste that is.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Najara hasn't changed.
And how do you know that?
Because I know her. She's the same zealot she always was. Only now she's even more dangerous.
How is that?
Because she's won you over.
The fact that Gabrielle's path seems to be the peaceful way and Xena continues on a warrior's path, it made for a very compelling argument for Najara to give to Gabrielle, which we needed because, you know, Gabrielle's no dummy, and while she's willing to give people a second chance, there has to be something behind it. The argument Najara makes for their paths needing to be divergent because Gabrielle's not into violence and Xena is, helped us sell Gabrielle's belief in her change. That and the fact that she said she was a follower of Eli's now, that carried enormous weight with Gabrielle.
A man came to our prison. He had just returned from India. And he spoke of a way of life that seemed so right to me. A way of peace. A way to break what he called the cycle of violence.
You met Eli. That's amazing. Xena and I knew him in India. He changed my life.
The Convert was Andrew Merrifield's first episode as a director that season. As a director on main unit, he'd done a lot of second unit directing for a year at least, and they generally like to give the second unit directors a main unit episode towards the end of their season. Andrew did a great job. He was always a fantastic, challenging director to work with. He really liked to put DPs on the spot and put them in hard places and never make it easy for them. And you never wanted to say no to Andrew. He'd say, oh, can we do this and come from here and come back? You'd always try and figure out a way to do it because just the look on his face, if you said, oh, that's going to be expensive or that's going to take a long time, you didn't want to see that look on Andrew's face.
It's funny, it seems that when push comes to shove, sometimes the only choice is to shove back. But with this path that I'm on, I can't do that. With me around, you won't have to.